Welcome to the Honest Hour. I'm your host, Luis Acevedo. We're going to give it a little bit here so that way people can come on in. I think we have a pretty good one for you today. I do have to make a hard stop, though. There's quite a bit of things I have to do after this in the afternoon. So, yeah, I'm going to start going. I'm going to start. I don't know. I'm going to start doing some life insurance and become a Medicare agent. Sorry, I just heard my children screaming out there. They were just fine a second ago. Anybody with children knows how that goes. So I actually have a job interview at 2 and then doing a ride along after that for this life insurance company. Our situation is changing a little bit here, so I have to prepare for that shift. My wife has the availability, has had the availability to work from home for quite some time. And that's been very nice because she's been able to essentially be a stay-at-home mom while working, but not having to leave the home. So that's been nice. And I think that if you're going to have your wife work or your significant other work, your wife, she should have the availability to work from home if she's going to work. But overall, her children should be the priority. So if she had to go outside of the home, she would have not been working for a longer time. But now we're making this transition as our third child comes into the world. She's due in a week or two, I believe. And so my business, I make, decent money, but I would have to do some side work in order to cover everything or grow the business. And I'm trying to grow the business, had a couple proposals that fell through. So now I'm just lining things up so that way I can, take care of everything. So yeah, that's the transition that's going through right now. Another good thing Byron has done. Side work is goblin knobs. Okay. So, all right, now we get enough people in here. So let's get this show on the road. The first thing that I really want to talk about is going to be Wisconsin. We'll let people in here in a little bit after we cover these topics. So let me move this camera over. So let's see here. We have Jay. Give me some time. Give me a few minutes. Let me just go over all these topics here. So the first topic for today is Wisconsin schools. A Wisconsin school banned the flag. The school is Kettle Moraine School District, and the school board voted to not have any political flags or religious messaging in their classroom or on their person. And this includes the pride flag, the BLM flag, back the blue flag, MAGA flag, anything that is political or religious is banned from the classroom, as I think it should, because the school should not be a ground for political conflict. And, it could, first off, I think that parents should be homeschooling anyway, but if you're going to send your children to public school, they should go to neutral grounds. That's the big thing. Ron Johnson needs to go to Wisconsin. Okay. And so this sparked a lot of controversy amongst the left. So Christine Donahoe, I believe is how you pronounce her name. What an interesting last name. She's a lawyer of the ACLU, and she claimed that this vote targets attacks at specific viewpoints like the LGBT communities or welcome safe spaces to students of color. So, the left is basically the only one complaining about this piece of legislation, saying it's racist, it's bigoted, it's homophobic, when in reality, it's pretty neutral. It's saying that you can't even have a Trump banner in the school. No MAGA, no back the blue, no BLM, no pride flags, etc. Who's going to homeschool all these kids? People work. It's easy. Make sacrifices. Change your job. Lower your wages. Reduce your cost of living in order to raise your child. That is the most important thing a parent will ever do. It's the most important thing a human will ever do. It's the best investment in your life you will ever make is raising your children. So think about the future. Don't think about the now when it comes to your children. I understand everybody needs to make money, But your priority should be your children. As long as the band all flags then slay, yeah, get over inflation, make sacrifices. Yeah, make sacrifices. You sound like a loser, Wayne. You sound like somebody who only looks at the negatives, who only wants to poke holes in everybody else's thing instead of making things work for them. So, yeah, so that's what's going on in Wisconsin. I think it's a really good thing. And now going on to the second thing that we have to discuss today is Democrats tax manufacturers out of business. That is what they're trying to do. So this House Oversight Committee chairwoman, Carolyn Maloney, she's a Democrat out of New York. She's pushing legislation called the Firearm Industry Fairness Act. And basically what this would do is add a 20% tax on all assault weapon manufacturers, all their revenue from assault weapons. You sound like you don't know anything about me. Wayne, you sound like a complainer. You sound like somebody who doesn't try to find the solution to the problem. Everybody comes here and says, "Oh, how homeschooling? How can people do that? They have to work." Well, get better at your work. If you're a husband and you have a wife, learn how to make some more money. Learn how to make some sacrifices if that's what you have to do in order so your wife can homeschool your children. Or if you're a single parent, there's things that you can do in order to raise your child and work. There are so many ways to do this. But anyway, going back to this piece of legislation. So the big thing here is that they're not going to be able to make the weapons illegal. They're not going to make weapons illegal. But what they're going to do is trying to tax this out of existence. So trying to tax these manufacturers out of existence, because I don't think they'll get away with it from a popular standpoint. Most Americans love their guns. They will not give them up. Therefore, the next best thing that they can do is litigate these manufacturers out of business. That's what I think. They're going to try to tax them to the point where it's no longer beneficial for them to stay in business. Although this will probably fail too. I mean, this is just a piece of legislation, but that's probably the game plan. That's probably the angle that they're attacking from. However, we have to remember that midterms are coming up and the Democrats are going to lose both houses. This has historical precedent. This is not only because the Joe Biden administration sucks, the Democrats in the House suck, the Democrats in the Senate suck. No, it's not just because of that. It's a historical precedent that happens almost every time. So, but Luis, is easier to whine and tell politicians to give free stuff. I don't know what you're talking about. People don't news, then people know how to make guns. What? Doubt the Democrats lose the Senate at this point. They're going to lose the Senate. I mean, it's historical. Trump lost both houses. I believe Obama lost both houses during his first term. There's a lot of historical precedents for this. And the only flags in school should be, yeah, exactly. That's what the school allows. So basically, just your state flag and your country's flag. Nobody is taking away guns, just reasonable rules on guns. Nobody's saying they're taking away guns, Wayne. You're not listening to me. I said that they will not successfully do that, but they will try to tax these manufacturers out of existence, as we're seeing with this proposed act called the Firearms Industry Fairness Act by the House Oversight Committee chairwoman, Carol Malone, out of New York. I don't think that it's going to go very far. And there's another bill that she's trying to pass. It is the Firearm Industry Crime and Trafficking Accountability Act. And this is attempting to prohibit sales of guns to retailers if the sales are going to lead to increased criminal activity. Well, we do know that there's a lot of data that suggests that if there's more gun owners, there's less crime, you're less susceptible to violence, etc. But what we do know as well is that there's going to be narrative shifts to allow for the banning of gun sales if the crime activities are high. However, this is as well just a proposal. This is just a bill. It has to go past both houses. Will it? You actually said take away our guns. I may have said that, but I said that they're not going to take away our guns, Wayne. Listen up, buddy. Because I said the American population won't have it. It's not a popular thing to do. They will lose all their backing anyway. But what they're trying to do is tax them out of existence, trying to litigate the guns out of existence in some way, shape, or form through a bunch of loopholes. But I don't think that either of these bills are going to pass because, once again, the Republicans are going to win both houses. come midterms. However, the Republicans do work in cahoots with the Democrats over a slow process. I've went over this numerous times. The Republicans simply make things palatable for the right, so that way they then accept progressive ideologies. This is how it goes. Hey, what's going on? Something to keep a lookout for. I don't think anything's going to materialize out of it, but something important to know. And I think that there'll be more of these kind of bills in the future. So with that, takes everyone's guns. Okay. So with that, I want to go into the last topic here, and then we'll go into Protestants are better than Catholics and Orthodox at this particular thing. Most polls say Democrats will keep Senate, but probably not the House. Those polls, I don't know if they can be trusted. They're going to lose the Senate. They're going to lose the House. I'm very confident in that. We'll find out, though, right? We'll find out. So here is some breaking news, and the last thing that we're going to cover today, and that has to do with Biden helping the DOJ probe Trump. LOL, you think this Dr. Oz is going to win? I don't know. We'll see. Heard that in 2020. Yeah, I know you did hear that in 2020, but you guys do understand that this is like an historical thing. It'll be the anomaly. It'll literally be the anomaly if the Republicans did not take back both houses, historically speaking. Because almost every president's first term, the House turns completely against them, both houses. It doesn't matter that Mitch McConnell thinks that. I don't think that we're going to have an anomalous year. I don't think so at all. I think it's going to remain consistent. I am a prominent person with a mansion, said a Tesla. I want you to be a toilet. I will give you 10. Okay. Nah, Dems will keep the Senate. We'll see. The DOJ has been politicized. Yeah, so let's get into this right here. So I'm sure everybody remembers Joe Biden's administration saying they had no prior knowledge to the raid whatsoever. Well, new documents revealed that to be a lie. So the former White House Deputy Counsel Jonathan Su had conversed with the FBI and the DOJ in the National Archives as early as April of, I believe, 2021 or 2022, or was it 2022? So at the behest of that conversation, Trump voluntarily gave up 15 boxes of classified material and other documents. And so this then turned into something much worse because Joe Biden, per Sue, said that he's not opposed to waiving Trump's executive privilege. And now this gets us into some murky area, right? There's a lot of debate around this between constitutional lawyers, which is why I think this may go to the Supreme Court. I could be wrong. But the reason I say that is because this is highly debated whether or not former presidents can perform executive privilege on documents and records that they held after leaving the presidency. Under President Bush, he signed an executive order solidifying this rule, and then in 2009, Obama signed an executive order to do away with that rule. Jack, you obviously don't know what you're talking about because there's even a Supreme Court case that has some suggest. No, Wayne, you're obviously not listening. I think you are extremely partisan. I think a lot of you guys just hear what you want to hear because I'm literally giving you objective facts. So in February, I believe it was February or April, one of the two. Let me see. It can't be February. I have let's see. But yeah, he voluntarily gave up 15 boxes, and then this was before the raid took place. Yeah, so this so 15 documents were given up voluntarily, and then Sue said in May that Biden would not object to waiving Trump's executive privilege. So we are exactly like you, biased. I'm not biased in this particular instance. I'm not a fan of Trump. I think Trump is a loser. I think he betrayed his people. I dislike the fact that he locked down the country. I dislike the fact that he ended up supporting face diapers. I dislike the fact that he started pushing the jab on everybody. Those are huge things that I'm totally opposed to Trump, and those are big for me. And being that he did not back his supporters, being that he didn't do anything to protect the American people from the tyranny of the World Health Organization and all those places, I did not vote for him in 2020. I would not vote for him in 2024. I think Trump is a good used car salesman. That's what I think of Trump. Do I like his rhetoric? Yeah. So you totally support Republicans? No, I don't totally support Republicans at all. I'm not a big fan of a lot of Republicans. I think Republicans are too weak. They're not far right enough. So a lot of Republicans for me are too moderate or too lenient. They cave in too much to the Democratic demands. They have no moral compass. They're very corrupt, same as I think the Democrats are. Anyway, so going back into this particular case, because Joe Biden, will I vote? Probably in my state, in my local. I think that's more important than at the federal level. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, as of right now, I am not. Yes, he is highly skilled in rhetoric, 100%. That's the best thing about Trump. I think Trump has a very high IQ, and I think he is very good at rhetoric. And that's why he won in 2016. So anyway, because Biden was going to waive the executive privilege that Trump may have had, this opened up the door for the DOJ to subpoena. And this negated the possibility of Trump, refusing to turn anything away over, turning anything over to the National Archive or anybody, or not the DOJ rather, because of his executive privilege. And so we go down here, we find that there's been messages between them. The former acting National Archivist, Deborah Steidl, and Trump's lawyers about getting over the documents. There was a lot of back and forth between them. And then Biden, basically empowered the National Archive to waive any claims of executive privilege that Trump may have had, to block the DOJ, as I've already stated. And there's a Supreme Court case that I think is very important to know here. It's Nixon v. Administrator of General Services, suggests that former presidents may not successfully assert executive privilege against the very executive branch. So, but there is that, with the language there is a possibility that they may also successfully assert executive privilege too. And that, I think, is going to go to the Supreme Court, because there's a lot of lawyers saying that, hey, we don't know, there is no clear take on whether or not this is something presidents can do. Is this going to allow for future presidents to negate any executive privilege enforced by the prior president? Maybe. Can they do that? We don't know. This has to yet be seen by the Supreme Court in a real fashion, because that Supreme Court case was just a suggestion towards it, but nothing actually aimed at the executive privilege. So we will see what takes place with that. It's very interesting. And, Trump claims that had they been upfront with him, he would have given the rest of the documents as they wished, as he voluntarily gave up before. But we'll see. Trump no longer has executive privilege. Wayne, this is something that's debated, actually. Some constitutional lawyers believe that this can extend past the White House. Other constitutional lawyers believe that it can't. A lot of analysts, political analysts, also debate on this, whether or not they can take it or leave it, or they can take it or they can't take it, and whether or not they can erode the right for executive privilege. And so this is why they're saying that the Supreme Court hasn't decided on this. There is no clear line as to whether or not Trump could have done that. So we will have to see You know, I'm not defending Trump at all. I'm seriously just being objective with the facts here. You know, if Trump goes to prison, Trump goes to prison. I don't really care. Do I want him to go to prison? The reason I would say I don't want him to go to prison and I don't want Joe Biden to go to prison is because it would lead the country into chaos. Then we would have a political decline of the likes none of us have ever witnessed. And it would be very bad for society because then the politicians would just be aimed at imprisoning their political opponents. And then they're just catering to the lowest common denominator. And it's very, very bad. So I don't think that would be a good place to go. This is, you know, there's a lot of politicians who could have been imprisoned by their by their successors, but they weren't under this code of conduct, if you will, probably, which isn't necessarily a good thing, but it's good in the sense that you don't encourage the imprisoning of your political opponents. And I will say that Donald Trump is the one that started that. Donald Trump is the one that started the rhetoric by saying that he would imprison Hillary Clinton. So Donald Trump is getting a taste of his own medicine in a way. You know, he should have been more strategic before he left the White House, I would say, by parting himself and you know, his January crowd. That's what I think. The DOJ lied and leaked, busted. Yeah, this is true. I want anyone who broke the law to face crime. I get it. I want old school. What's the difference between Democrats and libtards? What, Mike Tyson? What, Mike Tyson? Let's change the subject and talk about how amazing Zelensky is. Lol. You mean the cross-dressing comedian? So, yeah, let's see. I think, yeah, so I don't know. It's a slippery slope once you start imprisoning politicians because then you just open up rhetoric for it. And then it's just going to end up, you go to prison. No, you go to prison. And everybody's going to prison. So, but they didn't have 33 boxes of secrets. Yeah, that's the narrative, but he gave up 15 beforehand. So that's something new that I just found out today, that he already given up boxes voluntarily long before the raid, which is news to me. That was a skit on TV. The man who makes the clothes sadly made it most see it backwards. Sneaky, you mean? More man than you will ever be. Okay. Politician. Who? Zelensky? Good joke. Politicians should be proud to serve and scared of jail. I agree with you, hippie. But the issue is, I don't care about Roe v. Wade. I mean, what? Roe v. Wade just gave it back to the states. That's all it did. It said the federal government, it's outside of it, and now the states can decide. That's all it did. And I don't think many people care that much about being able to unalive their own babies. But we're not going to get into an abortion talk. You are a very evil person if you're for pro-life. And you may not, pro-choice, and you may not realize it because you're blinded, but that's okay. That's okay, but we're not going to talk about it here. I think it would make politicians more honest or sneakier. No, it would not. So we already have historical precedents for this. Back in Britain in like the 1700s, I can't remember exactly where in that time frame, but the rhetoric of imprisoning their political opponents had increased to the point of insanity, where to become a politician was to face sure imprisonment. And at the time, there's a lot of data to suggest that the IQ was much lower of the people. So in those kind of periods, it suggests that people have lower IQs, which is why they want to then punish their political oppositions for whatever reason. So there's a good video on it. I will pull up the video now. We're not going to watch it. It's like 20 minutes. But I will give you the title of it. That way you can check it out yourself. So right here, it's the Trump raid happened because we're back to the IQ of 1700. And it's by Professor Edward Dunton, the Jolly Heretic. If you guys want to look at that. Ending Roe v. Wade about addressing population collapse. Inside Trader, a.k.a. Martha Stewart. Yep. You have zero evidence of any claims but it's your lie. Tell it if you want. I don't know what you're talking about. Host reach on social media and spews it out as fact. There's no proof. Help. Yeah, there is actually. It came out today. I went over it. You can check it out on MOT News on YouTube. I read directly from the sources. I read literally letters, emails, text messages, not text messages, but letters that were exchanged between the Biden administration. It's been debunked. By who? I mean, there's actual evidence, like the actual letters are documented. They don't want to hear the truth. I'm telling you, and I'm not a fan of Trump, guys. I'm not a fan of Trump whatsoever. Well, it's obvious you don't know what I'm talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay, Jason, you can just leave. All right. Now, the last thing that it's all over the place. I mean, this particular one was Just the News. Was from Just the News. And then you have, let's see. I mean, and then they just link to the documents. So this is a nonpartisan, as far as I'm aware, website. So, anyway, let's see. Miami, Florida. Yes. Okay. Can you acknowledge Trump's accomplishments? I mean, what did he really accomplish? I used to say that he didn't get us into any new wars, but there's graphs showing that he dropped more bombs than any president, than any president before him. Like, he was attacking the places that we were at war in a lot more. So that's interesting. What have you accomplished, you rough and Russian puppet? Okay. Trump did. Trump dropped more bombs than any president before him. But he did not start any new wars, which is cool. I admire him for that. I'm not a big war guy at all. I actually don't support war most of the time. I think that very rarely is war justified. Usually it's for political motives, to make money, things that don't pertain to the average citizen. Yes, up 400%. Yeah, so I'm betting they didn't cost $70 billion either. I'm not sure. Rebuild the military. What do you mean? The military's turning very woke. So what did Trump do for the military? Rebuild it? I mean, for what? And there's also there's also a recruiting shortage taking place. What is the Abraham Accords? Doesn't ring any bell to me. Look it up. Abraham Accords, together with a desired. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, he was a shill for that Star of David country too. No, he just created many enemies. Huge. This guy knows better than all world leaders, guys. What a genius! Abraham Accords are huge. Okay, you care to elaborate? I mean, I see that they fixed relations between Jordan and Israel.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I have a question. Why is it a problem for people to be woke? You use woke as a pejorative. I want to know why.
Yeah, so I'm using it in its specific context around the left, who use the word. They coined the term, right? Like, oh, I'm woke. A lot of lefties coined the term by saying they're woke. And they were woke around social injustices that were just not very accurate. And so it's just more of
Elaborate on that. What do you mean by not accurate?
Yeah, so I mean, there's skewed data. So for instance, the female pay gap, is it a thing? Well, yeah, but it's not a thing because Well, it's not a thing because women are women, because employers are paying women less because they're women. It's a multi-dimensional. It's a multi-layer problem, right? I mean, you got the fact that women tend to leave the workplace because they want to have a family, which is a very admirable thing to do. You also have more women working part-time than full-time than men, so that skews the data. Men also work, more laborious jobs that pay very well too once they become very good at it, whereas many women don't do that. So there's a lot of things that go into it. And then also the characteristics of females, they're not as assertive as men. That's just a natural thing. That's not a big issue. That's part of the beauty of women.
Okay, so I get it. So there's a little bit of misogyny going on here with your claims about woke. I want to get back to woke.
No, this is not misogyny at all. No. This is not misogynistic at all. This is factual.
It is.
So if you're gonna if you're going to be retarded and use these coin terms, then you can just leave.
Wow.
So you can
You
just
need to wake up.
ah.
And here's the thing. I'll say this and then I'll leave. Don't kick me. The problem with people who use woke as a pejorative, as an insult, what it really says is that the people who use it like that are not in agreement with people having equality in this country. You're not okay.
Yeah, inequality doesn't exist. Equality doesn't exist. Equality doesn't exist. No, it doesn't. You can no. Let me tell you how. Let me tell you how it doesn't exist. You can literally birth a child. I can't. Therefore, we're unequal. I can lift more weights than you. Therefore, we're unequal. We're not equal. We're equal.
If we were doing a job where that was required, then I would agree with you. But if a man and a woman have the same exact qualifications, the same schooling,
do you know that women are getting paid more than men right now? Do you know that a lot of women?
In some areas, you're right, they are.
All right.
That's not the point.
But why aren't women fighting to be bricklayers? Why aren't women fighting to be diesel mechanics? Why aren't women fighting for those positions? They're only fighting for the white collar positions.
Some of them do. Some of them do.
But most women do what? Most women want what? They want the high cushiony job where they can boss people around.
They want the same pay as a man.
And they get it. They get it. They get it.
No.
They actually do.
Okay.
They actually do. They get paid more.
You want to deny that? That's fine. You can deny that there's a pay gap. That's fine.
I already told you. I've already addressed the pay gap in the beginning. So this is why I called you retarded, because I literally addressed this already.
Still using that word. That's crazy, bro. We haven't been using that word in a long time.
I don't care.
Do you care about
I don't
how
care.
people perceive you?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
Well, then good luck with that, man. You're the type of guy who's going to be ostracized from society and women for that matter.
I have a wife. I have 3 daughters. I have a wife and 3 daughters.
Don't let men talk to your daughters like you talk to me, all right?
Well, I won't let them be stupid like you are. So we had somebody else who wanted to come in, but now they're out. That's cool. She's high class woke. Fact. Sorry for your family. It's people like her that will destroy America. Exactly. Like what? I don't know. It's hilarious. I can't stand that woman. What's going on?
Hello, good evening. You okay?
I'm perfectly fine. Why are you asking? You fine?
Yeah, I'm very, very well, thank you. I've never followed you, so I'm not really sure what's your background. But can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I don't think you came on here to interview me, but yeah, this is MOT News.
Being on your live would be nice to know you and to know more about you.
Yeah, we do political and social commentary, live streams, usually at 1 o'clock, but I can't go at 1 o'clock today because I have some things I have to do at 2. So, yeah, political and cultural commentary.
Oh, right, I understand. So you have your own perspectives on politics, as I've been made aware that you are a great supporter of Russia as well, as you don't really stand for women either.
No, I'm not a supporter of Russia. I'm not a fan of Putin. I'm not a fan of Russia.
Okay.
I think that they do some things good. I like their, religious background. I think they have better morality than the United States. I think Putin, in certain ways, is a more effective and decisive leader than what we have in the United States. But would I want to live in Russia? No. Do I agree with the Russia-Ukrainian war? I agree so much as that NATO in the West provoked Russia into the war, and that Russia is protecting their interest and their people in the eastern half of Ukraine. But do I want them to be at war? No, I don't. I don't believe in war mostly. I think some wars are justified, but I think they're very few. But I'm not a big fan of Russia. I'm not a big fan of Ukraine either.
Yeah, what I'm thinking now, because you mentioned a few characteristics of Russia when you talk about religion and other, things that you can find in Russia. Do you know those could be found in so many other beautiful countries across Europe, like Ukraine, Romania? Same religion, same traditions. Like we are very connected due to USSR and everything that's been before. With centuries. So to stand for what you believe and what you like at Russia, I would rather consider than to find that more relevant in other countries than Russia, than supporting Russia. Because in my opinion, I mean, if you go through my profile, I 100% stand with Ukraine for many reasons. Because obviously we've been Ukraine before me as a country coming from Romania.
But hang on, we're not even talking about this. That's not even the topic of today. Are you gonna circle this, tie this in? Are you gonna tie this into any of the topics behind me?
No, but it's just because you mentioned some, words that I wanted to bring them up. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about whatever you're talking about. I just wanted to get your opinion on Russia. That was very important for me and for others that are watching you. Well, because you have this topic up quite a lot.
Yeah, well, not today though, right?
Okay, that's fine. What about women? Because you've been very tough on that lady, Shannon. That's not right, is it?
Well, it depends on what you mean, but it's okay. It's not part of the topic today, is it? Is that a topic?
No, it's not at all. I'm not having a go on you. I'm just one of the creators that are joining your live, so you can be friendly with us because we are here to watch your live. So don't be so defending.
Okay. You mean I can do my lives however I want. But all right. See ya. We're gonna let somebody else on. Maybe they want to talk about the topics at hand. Topics, guys. Stay on topic. If we end up getting off topic while we're talking about a topic, that's fine. But if you're gonna come in here and chat on topic, what's going on?
So I do. I want to talk like that second one. Democrats want to tax gun manufacturers out of existence.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the current tax that they're trying to do about any manufacturer
exactly
sell ARs or high capacity magazines?
Exactly, by the oversight chairwoman rather, Carolyn Maloney. Yep.
Yeah, I know about it. So you think that hurts gun manufacturers?
Yeah. Well, it does. I mean, they have to, because they're increasing their taxes. So, are you a business owner?
Raise the prices.
Are you a business owner?
My family is.
But are
I'm
you?
Not personally
are
a
you?
business owner.
Okay,
no,
so
I'm not personally a business
and by
owner.
you say family, do you mean like your dad, your mom?
My father owns a business that I help with when I visit him.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I only asked that because. All right. I guess that we were kicked off for hateful behavior on TikTok. So we will be able to go live, hopefully again, on the 30th of August. But you know what? We have several backup channels, which is really, really cool. So we're all good. It's not that big of a deal. I'm going to appeal it, but I think the reason why I got banned is because I said retard. But that's all right. So we'll be able to go live from what's going on? There we go. All right, hang on. What's going on here? All right. So yeah, so MOT News is blocked once again from going live because I went hard at that woman. I probably should have reframed my language, but it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. But I do have to get going. I can't go much longer. I have someplace I need to be here soon. But tune in tonight at MOT Today 1 and MOT Media will be the accounts that will be going live from on TikTok tonight. So I hope you guys enjoyed the stream tonight. I know it's kind of short, but we'll be back here tonight at about midnight. So yeah, subscribe to everything MOT Media, MOT News, MOT Today 1, and we'll be back tonight. Much love. Peace.